uh, first and foremost, I just want to say thank you, God. I just want to be thankful to God for the little I can be thankful for. I can be thankful for my health because I know that it's not looking good, and it's just a matter of time where I'll be too sick. But I have to be thankful for the things that I have to be thankful for. As a tag individual, is sometimes you see things and it becomes biblical. And I understand why tag individual start believing in God even more because you realize this disgustingness that's around you that maybe you didn't know existed. You couldn't believe that that existed. And you see how people can behave when it's orchestrated and normalized by governmental entities. And it's not just the evilness and the atrociousness, but the stupidity that they're willing to stoop to gaslight you. And they have to, because that's how they can normalize the idiocy. They have the same tactic with me when they want me to subscribe to a stupid storyline. And with me, I've noticed that there's been a level of dumbing down that is just another level. And that's because with more validation that how these perps wanted to present themselves. And I'm the type of person, you've seen my videos, I put that in their faces. And this still doesn't stop them from having to behave this way because they have to sell this. Now, for me, making videos has been a way for me to express myself. Now, I will put more effort into the target justice effort. I know there's people who are, you can be compromised in different ways, but one thing about target justice is exposing the horror that needs to be exposed. And for me, it's important to see that because it needs to be implanted in my brain. I need to like really, really focus on that because I know how evil this trash are, what they're part of. As normal as it is, I just got back from the doctor and it felt like, it's like that's what this program is about. These doctors compromise, this nurse compromise, and they do everything possible to still maintain this facade. Listen, I'm a target individual dealing with V2K. So my mind is no longer mine. They play my brain in these disgusting ways. And then they try to gaslight me. And by the way, they tell me they frame me with children. They even tell me they're going to frame me by playing child porn. I'm going to come back to that because that was one of the most stupid things they were trying to do to me. And unfortunately, as a target individual, you are forced to digest that stupidity, to ingest that. It is idiotic. They was doing all kind of noise campaign. And I know that's how stupid and how little it takes now. It's so systematic. Listen, target individual, these governmental entities are disgusting. And it's clear validation. Not only this program does these harmful things to children, you'll know fast. Once you start finding out about target individual, how evil they are, you'll find out the evilness consists of harming 3-year-old children. It is diabolical. It is truly diabolical. They can torture children in sexual matters. They can force children to have dreams that are sexual. I heard some children like 3-year-old or either way, however old, imagine making children, dreams in your brain can be manipulated. They can make you have dreams that are degrading. Sometimes just not even degrading, stupid, they're just weird. It's like, so for me, I've made videos about dream manipulation because sometimes it's not just to disturb you, it's also to condition you. It is foul. And I'm not the first and I won't be the last one saying that. But I didn't know that children could be forced to have these degrading dreams. Some of them of sexual nature, children. So I've been listening to that. It adds to this trash level of foulness. Because once you see how the level of foulness they can do, it makes sense that this psychological torture, this pedophilia type of torture, is clearly, obviously, what they will do. But I already knew that they did that to other target individuals. With me, they wanted me to be like, no, what we're doing, we're parent this you when you were a child and this and that. It's so nasty. But, one thing I know that is so weird, and I don't want to get lost in this because target individual, we got to be careful. And I was listening to Target Justice. Listen, it's clear that these governmental entities have issue that are pedophilia centric. It's clear. But we don't need to go into the Epstein file to see that. There are things that are way more validating than that. This bill called S1413 that was, and it's crazy, look it up. That was created because, and I'm sure it's very sugar-coated, but the Department of Defense was having issue where internal network and DoD employees were sharing child porn within each other. It's bad. But not just a few. It was so much that when you look at the overall child porn trafficking ranking of like by network, the DoD was ranked 19th out of 2,900 or so, a high position, high rank. That information was released because there was so much, it was such a high ranking that they released that information that something needs to be done. Now, since then, there's no longer been any ranking, and I don't think there will be any. And if it is, I don't know how high or low it is. It's still the same. But this bill was trying to look like they're doing something and have something done internally. So now it appears that this is going to be reviewed internally. It will not be shared for the public to see. And maybe what happened there is this bill is just going to make things more internal and appear that they're doing something. But being top tier child porn trafficker, and this ranking, apparently they've been ranking at a high level for a long time. It's been consistent. This is not Epstein file. This is actual, mentioned in CNN, and congressmen and senators have mentioned that. You don't even have to go that far. This is, forget about the Pizzagate and all that. This is maybe, you know, the truth is probably in it, but there's most likely also inflated in different fashion, right? But you don't need to go that far. It's clear that it's a pedophilia issue if the DoD have to create a bill because they are being ranked top tier for child porn trafficking within their own network. And that's not the first indication that there was an issue of pedophilia. There was an investigation. That's why the gaslighting started. ICE and another agency, I forgot which one, did an investigation, and based on the investigation, found out there's hundreds or so, maybe a few thousand of employees that work for the DoD or the Pentagon that were involved in child porn. Now, first of all, they tried to gaslight me because they want me to think that I was put in this program because they were investigating me. They saw me as a child, a pedophile, and they're like, you know, the typical things. And being tried to make me imagine some disgusting thing with child porn that never was seen. They tried to create that in my mind. That they are doing this investigation. And the reason why ICE is because, you know, I'm not an originate from this country, even though today they gave me the citizenship after becoming a target individual. It's disgusting. I became a citizen most likely because I was a target individual. Or at least it expedited my citizenship. It's crazy. Now, why was ICE involved in this investigation? Because what this investigation included is there was criminal organization that were based in foreign country, in Eastern European country, that would sell these disgusting child porn things to people who subscribe. It's like a subscription type of sales. They will get the emails of these people. They'll pay a monthly fee or something like that. And this content will be sent to them. And ICE will be involved because in regard to jurisdiction, since this is coming from a foreign area, coming in, and this transaction that goes between two different countries. One is the American country, the US, and then the other countries are in Europe. A jurisdiction of ICE was needed. That's why ICE was investigating this. And so because of that. But apparently there was also like another, like investigation, that was brother that's just looking at like P2P, or I'm not even sure, and I'll double check, but at least what ChatGPT says is there's a secondary thing where they also looked at like overall like those file sharing platform at the time called like LimeWire and Kazaa, which if you're born around my time or you were a teenager around that era, most of us used LimeWire and Kazaa at some point. It was very, very popular. It was, the thing was like you could get free music, and even though music was not legal, well, even though the music, you're supposed to buy music, instead of buying the music or whatever, even the movie, you could for free. So it was during the days where it was basically the Spotify, the YouTube of before, where you can get free movies for free. Very, very popular, extremely popular. I don't know if you can hear people screaming, but if you are somebody who is above 36 years old, you for sure know that. It was extremely popular. Everybody was using it, especially if you're in that age group. Almost everybody. You couldn't, if you're going to school, it's like, hey, I'm going to get that song, I'm going to watch this movie, you go there. Extremely popular. So what they try to do is try to make me imagine downloading some of these disgusting things that they wish I did. Now, most of the time when I didn't have a proper computer that can do that until I was in high school. And that's where I think I used Kazaa or LimeWire, one of those, during those, when I was there. I think mostly LimeWire at some point. I was in high school. And we would get movies and whatever else. And they try to make me imagine, because also, at the time, you get like free adult content. They just try to make me imagine something else as in high school. And with friends, there was like even some of my friend in high school, he had like, because he had like a nice computer, he had like all kind of, we were teenage kids in high school, sophomore, freshman years. And so they try to make me imagine, what you're doing there is like, and try to, it's like, we prove that you use LimeWire. And the reason why they're doing that, one is true, they try to create mental battles to disorient me from the reality that the entities that contract these losers have clear issue pedophilia. And they wanted to make me think, no, ICE was investigating you because they saw this lamb, and try to use how ICE was investigating this organization, or this crime organization based in Eastern Europe, to try to say this is what they are. These people are that, when in reality they're just the bottom feeders that work for these governmental entities, where a bunch of pedophiles are just in this involvement. The stupidity that I'm forced to internalize, on top of the disgustingness, can push somebody to insanity. It is really bad. And then once they force me to think in this retarded way, they're like, yeah, we got you. It's like a game to them. It's like, you think LimeWire, what you make me imagine happen, like they're making me imagine doing that. Truly projecting the issue that these entities that are downloading child porn have. The reason why this ICE was actually involved, because there was these foreign criminal rings selling child porn, which you're finding out there's a few hundreds or a few thousands of Pentagon workers. This whole, go look up Operation Flicker. Go look it up. They have no shame. I don't even know if they'd learn, but to be like, oh, but you use LimeWire. It's like, everybody used LimeWire. Anybody of my age at the time was using, at least used. And so for me, they also use people as perps who aren't even close to being born around that time. So they don't know how popular LimeWire was, or even Kazaa. Kazaa is a little bit older, because I don't recall too much of using Kazaa. I think more shifting to the LimeWire aspect. in my high school years. And then they tried to make me think, okay, well, just shortly after I graduated, it's like, we used to have a computer that was not able to. I think if we had like a better computer, probably would have used LimeWire, but we had like not the best computer, and the internet was not the best. So at that point, we weren't using that. Maybe when it came to music, they became out the website where you can get all the music easier. And so they're just trying to like make me imagine that, to cover up the issue of pedophilia with these entities. Now, in regard of pedophilia in these governmental entities, listen, target individual, let's not get lost in this, because they can. It seems like they can use the insanity of what is it can be shown in regard to this governmental entity. There's a lot of nastiness happening. Now, I want to focus on what's validated. What's validated is during Operation Flicker, want to investigate this crime organization based in Eastern Europe. This ICE department, because they're investigating this, I think, Belarusian or Ukraine and some Russian, it's like basically Eastern European organizations, criminal organization. As their clientele, as they listed their clientele, there was a bunch of DOD. No, but DOD, it's not even DOD, Pentagon specific employees, which most of them, nothing ever happened to them. A few hundreds, huh? It's not a few thousand. I think it was 5,000. I don't know, but a good list. And they tried to gaslight me. Stupidity. To then try to project onto me what these entities have been doing and try to gaslight me. But what they've been telling me, they confirm me with child porn. And tell me how they got me. Now trust you guys at the bottom field work for pedophiles who try to make me imagine doing this thing using LimeWire. And even try to gaslight me that I've used LimeWire, of course, who haven't in my age. It's clowns. I was at the doctor, he was looking at me, I was like, and there was this, it's all about facades and psyops. You have to be strong. And I'm too strong at this point, not physically, I'm just the opposite. But strong in regard of understanding reality. It's like they think that the facade presented is going to make you internalize things. I was the doctor. And there was this older, I think they tried to find, okay, in this, who would he believe the most? Initially, there was like a lot of female gender individual. Then I got involved into understanding there's a lot of female participants. And what they're doing is they think that their genders is going to cover up reality. Then, now they try to do regular guys, but it's, like, okay, there's a reason why they went with women first. But then, there was like this father figure like individual that, you're going to look up a little bit more. So there was this older man, like a grandfather, like 60s, 70s, and he was just staring at me. And I looked at him, I'm like, he thought it's going to work. And I said, hi. He was staring at me, and I stared, but I said, hi. And so it's like, I know what you were trying to do. You think by looking at me like that, I'm going to internalize this reality? You guys are here torturing 3-year-old kids. And try to make me imagine these disgusting things. And then try to bring ICE. ICE was, ICE was doing. So they were investigating this criminal organization based in Eastern Europe. That's what they call this pedophiles at the Pentagon. They don't try to, deport an immigrant. This is the ICE that investigate what's, what's coming in this country that should not coming in regard of material, illegal material, or drugs, or things like that, and what organization that's trafficking, whatever. These clowns up there. And they're going to stick to that because they don't want me to revert to the state of how I see them as the horror that torture babies and women. where the governmental entities are top tier pedophiles. So they use these retards. I'll call them the wall of retardation. What's happened to my body is not because these retards are involved in this. They're nothings. They do slam doors and they try to push somebody into retardation. Those are the bottom feeders. This is like the retards that the ICE, and not even ICE, the governmental entities involved in this. It's so disgusting. And women, they want me to things like, listen, for sure, those governmental entities are all involved, but we know that behind the scene of what's really happening to us target individual, for them to even give me the citizenship, it's just so far. But we know that who's behind us is, we talk about the CIA level, DOD level entities. Yes, FBI for sure is involved in this. I'm sure Homeland Security is definitely involved in this, but they're not the one running this thing. This FBI, Homeland, they're not here to try to catch pedophiles. This is not that. This is where they try to turn people into pedophiles so they can kill themselves. This is a program that tortured 3-year-old kids. This is where they put people in a program where they use them as human beings, as human subjects, I should say. Human test subjects. They throw us in this thing where we become guinea pigs, even children. You know how retarded this thing was? I was like, oh no, it's fake. Shut up. To try to make me imagine this LIMEWIRE stupidity. Now, before that, it was something on Warstar Hip Hop. You go watch this thing, which actually I never even watched. But they're like, oh, it was this Warstar Hip Hop that, and if you don't know Warstar Hip Hop, very, very popular in 2000. Not as popular as LimeWire, and because it's not the same thing. Warstar Hip Hop is where you used to go and there would be like fights, all kind of random crazy stuff. Very popular in the urban environments. It was very urban, like, you know. And there was a video that I remember like wanting to see, just like everybody else, but it was gone, and I looked it up and never found it. And they're like, yeah, you see proof again. You saw this. Like, shut the F up. This is the kind of stupid things they deal with. They force me to deal with. These clowns out here paying subscription to get child porn, implanting stupidity in my brain, and now make me think, oh, LimeWire. You use LimeWire. It's like, yes, like everybody else at the time. But you try to make me imagine download some nastiness like that. And by the way, most of the time, me using LimeWire, I was in high school. Like, not even just in high school. I'm talking about freshman, sophomore year, high school. I'm talking about 15-year-old, 16-year-old me. Clown. The stupidity. That's how stupid I've become. And my parents, they try to create like mental battle. Did you use it after? Like, if I could use it, I probably would have used it, because you could get free music and what. That was the most popular thing to get free music. But after that, there was like easier other ways to get a bunch of like free music and whatnot. We could watch it in different fashion, but whatever could get you free movies and whatnot. They try to make me imagine, like, oh, but when you use this, I was like, no, you make me imagine that. But I'm dealing with people who are here torturing children by forcing them to have sexual dreams. This is how bad this thing is getting. And then humiliate the entities empower this low life. A top tier pedophile. You know, this whole Epstein thing, listen, I don't want to go too much into that. I don't know the reality of that. I don't want to go into this conspiracy theory like ways. It is very suspicious that this guy most likely has involvement with the intelligence community, and is scary to know that there's very strong linkage there. Now, I don't want to dive into that because there's things that are more validating than that. So I'm going to stick to that. If this was some CIA like, it's just another validation, but target is even worse than that. That is valid. Forget about the Pizzagate and what this thing. Like, go look at the S14. Go look at the BuzzFeed article. It's way worse than that. More validating than that. It's really this thing is almost like a distraction, I think, to make target video go into like a lot of. The fact that there's a lot of pedophilia issue in this governmental entity is validated. But other things, but the Epstein thing. The Epstein thing, I don't even think it's validating. I think it's still a lot of discovering, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of just things thrown in that's just meant to make make things look crazier, I should say. So I don't even want to dive into that. But what I can dive into is what is being validated. There's a Operation Flicker that got a bunch of DOD or Pentagon employees in trouble. Not even trouble, nothing happened to them. But at least there was a recognition that there were a bunch of subscribers to this organization's nasty content. And after that, there's even more disturbing things like the S-1413 bill introduced in 2019, in May 2019. Even worse than that, there was a BuzzFeed article with paperwork showing like even DARPA program manager were caught with child porn on their computers. It's so nasty. There's things way more disturbing than that, and find on computers that are governmental computers. What these clowns are implanting memories with LimeWire, and then try to make me feel guilty for using one of the most popular tool at the time. And who gaslighted me? Some retard that was just born 2 years ago. So they don't even know how big LimeWire is, how stupid it is to try to make you imagine that. Because these clowns were not even a fucking speck of a sperm. When this thing was popular. I think we should gotta be strong and see these clowns for what they are. They've been trying to gaslight me, making me focus on something else. No, you're gonna just dwell in the stupidity that just was implanted in my brain. I can be just as strong.